Hello, and welcome to the Palmetto Report. I'm Maurion Jamison.
And I'm Jaron, Levi. People at Winthrop are giving back to a local blood drive. Also, York County residents are feeling the impact of the main library's closure.
And later, a new British invasion is underway with Rock Hill's Best of Britain car show. That and more is coming up on the Palmetto Report.
People at Winthrop are rolling up their sleeves and donating blood to help people in need in our community. One Blood's Big Red Bus will be on campus next week, April 21st and 22nd, for the group's latest blood drive. The bus will be in the Margaret Nance parking lot starting at 10 a.m. each day. The Big Red Bus was on campus in February to collect blood during the winter months when organizers say donations often decline. Those who donate say they're helping a good cause.
I donated to the blood supply because I found out that I'm giving my blood and helping other people, and I always wanted to do my way.
One Blood holds blood drives across the Southeast, including North and South Carolina. Organizers say the Big Red Bus strengthens the local blood supply and encourages more people to donate.
York County's library's main branch in Rock Hill has been closed for several months due to renovation. The library just reopened this week after upgrades to the building's electrical systems were completed. Our Riddik Fowler has more on how York County residents were impacted by the closure.
The York County Library Rock Hill location has been closed for several months due to renovations. Now that some time has passed, let's see what this local library goer has to say.
I like how quiet it was, and usually I can just go in there and do my work or just sit there when I don't want to be in that room. Because honestly, I don't really like talking to people like that. But I can't really do that now. So.
Local library goers are not the only people to be affected by this. Here we are with Liberty Bookstore, and now they have been affected by the library's closing.
There has been a huge uptick in calls for simple resources, directions, calls from writers in the area looking for local guidance on how publishing works or how to get editing for their books.
The York County Library is currently unsure of when they will be opening back up.
The hotspots that were at the Rock Hill location, we reallocated those devices to the other branches so that they would have more devices. We've seen an uptick in foot traffic at the Fort Mill location and in York. So some of our Rock Hill patrons are going out to the other branches to get those resources that they needed while we've been closed.
For the Palmetto Report, I'm Riddik Fowler.
Winthrop Center for Career Development and Internships often hosts events that give students an opportunity to dress professionally. The CDI helps students acquire professional attire for interviews and connects them with career fairs, networking events, and internships. At last month's Career Closet event, students were able to choose professional clothing such as suits, collared shirts, slacks, dress shoes, and ties.
For the Career Closet, you're getting professional wear that's completely free. It's donation based, so all the clothes that we get here have been provided by people in the community or monetary donations where we're actually able to go out and purchase things for students.
The Career Closet events are hosted periodically throughout the semester. Free professional headshots, photos were also available.
Faculty in the Winthrop English Department are working to create a sense of community by including their stakeholders in the hiring process. Earlier this semester, the Writing Center hosted 2 events intended to introduce faculty candidates to students and staff in the English Department. The 2 candidates were interviewing for an opening as a professor of African American literature and were hosted at 2 separate luncheons. Those in the department say it's important to have students and staff involved in the hiring process.
Staff here at Winthrop in the English department, particularly, I noticed there's like a very strong sense of community, and you can tell that the professors all care about each other, which is something that I think is really important in getting the students involved to meet the new professors. It just shows that like, hey, they care about who they're bringing in.
The candidate luncheons were hosted in the Writing Center because it's intended to be a safe space where people can relax and feel comfortable. The center continues to host events throughout the semester intended to create a connection between faculty and students.
Research shows that Gen Z is less likely to get behind the wheel. The number of 16-year-olds with a license decreased by 27% from 2000 to 2022, with changes in driving license trends. It shifted the way college students navigate college campuses. For some, driving has become more of a community effort rather than an individual responsibility.
And most of my friends all have cars, so we got to go somewhere, that's who I just ask. So I actually don't use any ride sharing apps personally, but yeah.
But the community efforts aren't stopping. The student organization SOAR hosted an event where students could learn about transportation options on and off campus.
Many Winthrop students say they're excited for the return of warm weather this spring, especially after a winter that brought 2 different severe storms in January that closed the campus due to ice and snow. So with the dreary winter weather likely behind us, you're most likely to see students spending time outside in shorts and tank tops. Many students say being out in the sun helps them prepare for the final push of homework and exams before the end of the semester. Some even say the nice weather motivates them to finish up their homework so they can go outside and play. Temperatures are expected to be in the 70s and 80s over the final few weeks of the semester, which is above normal for this time of year. Man, it feels good, doesn't it, to be in the warm weather finally?
It does. I'm able to even finish my work, but I will say those temperatures are really getting up there.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Many people from Winthrop University community came out to celebrate the Lunar New Year with a night filled with music, dance, and traditional food. The year of the fire horse officially began February 17th. Our Madison Martin-Sadler has the story.
The beat of the drum echoed the room as many students came out to celebrate Lunar New Year by attending DSU's event. They were given these red envelopes. Traditionally, those envelopes are placed inside the lines for good fortune.
The lion dance is a cultural tradition that's been passed down from generation to generation. And really what it is performers, we embody the lion costume. And our goal is to spread the good fortune and spread the tradition of lion dances.
Lunar New Year's origins have historically been placed with Chinese people during the Shang Dynasty, called the Chinese New Year. Lunar New Year is more inclusive to all East and Southeast Asians who celebrate it. One of the Vietnamese lion dancers here shares how he and his family celebrate.
We all get together. There's about 8 families together, so a total of like 60 people all in one house. And we're all there about the night prior. We're all getting ready. Everyone's wearing red or as much red and yellow as they can because of good fortune. We're cooking food. We have food on the altar for the elders to bless us for the new year.
Guests received a selection of foods like spring rolls and dumplings, which represents wealth and prosperity, and vegetables, which represents abundance. CEO and co-founders of the Cambodian Legacy Project, Kavoni Jonas and Kim Lan, had their young dancers give an amazing performance.
And then about my Cambodian heritage, we do the Cambodian New Year where we have hot pot and it's really fun. And then we do the instance.
With the Palmetto Report, I'm Madison Martin-Sadler.
Members of the Winthrop community recognized the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday with a candlelight visual and program honoring the legacy of Dr. King. The event was hosted by the Xi Phi chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. It brought together students, faculty, and community members for a night of reflection and unity. It was a part of the week of events at Winthrop to honor King. Organizers say it's important to remember King's legacy.
Our MLK service event is an annual thing that we do. What it does is it brings out the community at Winthrop. We get to spread knowledge to those and kind of just advance to those who kind of just don't know what the service is and kind of just spread more information about it.
Participants stood together holding candles as they listened to messages about service, justice, and the lasting impact of King's leadership during the Civil Rights Movement.
A group of British car enthusiasts put together a show celebrating the unique qualities of the international cars. Kennedy Stevens shows us more.
The technology that was involved into the car, 1938, was advanced enough that I can still drive this with modern traffic.
With Land Rovers, Bentleys, Rolls Royces, and more, a new British invasion is underway.
At Rock Hill's Best of Britain celebration, you can find cars like these in a showcase.
Those who came were given the opportunity to view and learn more about the models in the showcase.
All the British cars have always been my favorite, but you know, Rolls Royce is like the standard around the world of just quality and just a certain standard of craftsmanship. Just want to see the oldest model I can find out here.
The British Car Club Midland Center got its start in the 70s as just a series of conversations between friends. Today, it has grown to be a gathering for all British car enthusiasts alike.
Yes, but to introduce them to people that don't know things about the cars, to carry on the legacy of car collecting, it's important to preserve these and make sure that they keep running down the road.
The BCCMC says that membership is open to anyone with an interest in British cars, with meetings on the first Saturday of each month at a local Midlands area restaurant. This is Kennedy Stevens from the Palmetto Report.
We're going to take a quick break,
but we'll be right back. You're watching the Palmetto Report.
Do you long to make great tales of adventure? Do you dream of fantasy worlds, or of great battles of good versus evil? If you do, come to Writing 311, where you can make all your dreams a reality.
Welcome back to the Palmetto Report. I'm Raegan Carter, and we're now joined by Carlo Dawson, the current Poet Laureate for Rock Hill. Dawson served as an educator for the Rock Hill School District for more than 20 years, teaching creative writing, art, and journalism, and she currently serves as the Dean of Student Leadership. Dawson is also a published author and is the founder and director of the nonprofit The Power of Progeny. Carlo, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so first, can you tell us how you became the Poet Laureate of Rock Hill?
Well, a lot of hard work. I will tell you, I actually applied for the position. So just like anything else, you apply for it. And you have to really show that you have a good, outstanding body of work, that you've also done things within the community, and also show how you want to use your platform to help promote poetry and really promote literacy. And it's something I dreamed about.
Yeah.
It's something I dreamed about, and I didn't know if it was attainable from being a little girl and finding out what a Poet Laureate is. I only thought about U.S. Poet Laureates. Never knew that our city would have a city Poet Laureate. But when it came to the city, and our first Poet Laureate was Angelo Jeter, and so when it did come to the city, I knew that I wanted to apply for it. And so I applied and did all the things, and I'm very grateful and honored to be the Rock Hill Poet Laureate.
Yeah, like you mentioned, like when it came to Rock Hill, like it's somewhat rare for a city to have a Poet Laureate. There's only 3 others in South Carolina, like Charleston, Columbia, Greenville. What does it mean to you to have one in Rock Hill?
It means everything. It really means that our city values poetry, values the power of poetry, the power of community, the power that poetry has to bring community together. And from all the way to 0 to 99, just to show that poetry is important. Yeah. So it means everything. And I've had a chance to meet our other Poet Laureates as well, or Poets Laureate as well, and they're dynamic.
Yeah. Can you tell us what a Poet Laureate actually does? Like, what does your day-to-day look like?
Well, a Poet Laureate is the official poet for the city of Rock Hill. So we could do anything from being commissioned to write a poem for the mayor or for the city council or a city office, all the way to going to schools and promoting poetry and workshops, K through 12, our college campuses. I had the opportunity, literally today, I was at a school, a middle school, doing a poetry workshop all day today. And it was wonderful just to pour into young people and just really show how poetry can be used to uplift them, to save their lives, to show how writing is in everything that they do and see and love. So definitely doing that. Also doing community service, projects with poetry, and any kind of efforts to promote poetry within the city. And another thing I get to do is I get to also mentor the Youth Poet Laureate as well. So I love being able to give back to our budding poets as well. So that's just a few things that I get to do.
That's wonderful. That's so wonderful.
Yes.
Is there a poem that you've written for the city that you think about often, or is like one of your favorites?
Well, I did have the opportunity to write a joint poem for the MLK celebration, and I did that with the Youth Poet Laureate, and it was Always On. That was the title of it. And it was really cool because we got together and really collaborated on that, and really it took a pretty good bit of time because being very intentional, I had to be very intentional to include important monumental pieces within the city. So having those allusions to different things within the city. And the Always On is really a play on one of the mottos that the city of Rock Hill has. So that was a wonderful opportunity to do that. And another thing that I really enjoyed is I wrote a poem. I was commissioned to write a poem for, it was honoring the 144. It was for an ancestral African-American burial ground. It's in the outskirts of Rock Hill, and I did that last year. And that was powerful to be a part of. I think that's something that's probably very meaningful when I'm commissioned to write for pieces that are very heartfelt. And I really do feel honored to just be a fly on the wall, per se, for some of these historic moments.
Yeah,
I
think that's a true testament to how powerful writing is as an art form.
Absolutely.
It connects you through history, and it connects you to all this community. And that's just, that's lovely. I love that.
Yes.
And you've been an educator in the arts for many years. How does that affect your work?
Wow, you know, I went into education, I tell you, honestly, I knew I wanted to be a writer. I actually told the students this today that I mentored. I wanted to be a writer from the moment that I was bullied. And I saw how I was bullied for befriending those that people often didn't befriend. And so the pages of my journal, that's who I talked to. And I knew that when I started to read poetry, I said, that's what I'm doing. I read Maya Angelou's poetry and her book, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. And I saw that she was selectively mute as well. And so in public, I didn't speak a lot. And at home, I talked all the time. But that allowed me to see how poetry saved my life. And so I went to school to be a writer. I majored in English. And then I went back and became an educator because I knew that writing saved my life and I wanted to give that back to students. And so I've had the opportunity to see how writing has just saved the lives of so many young people and so many people I know. And so being an educator, it's really been everything. And I actually have some pieces that I've written. I have a piece that I've been working on for years now, The Missing Voice. I do a one-woman show, The Missing Voice, for educators and for students, just to give voice to what young people feel. And I also am writing a poetry book with that, just so people can see themselves within that.
Yeah. You mentioned like helping young people like find their voice and like find joy in like the art that they're making. So, and you said today that you did a workshop with middle schoolers. So, do you find that young people are interested in poetry, either reading or writing it? Do you find some pushback, or do they accept it with open arms?
Yes. Yes to all of those. Yes to all of those. But you know, having taught creative writing, I taught creative writing over 20 years. I know all the answers. So I know some people love poetry. Some people are kind of hesitant about it. And I always tell people, you just haven't found your poem yet. But the thing is that we see poetic elements in all kinds of things that we see, that we hear, in the music that we see, on the movies that we watch, in the commercials. So, you know, once people kind of, I guess, open up their themselves to that, they kind of realize, oh yeah, that's right. I think once young people get the opportunity to see, well, I don't have to write incomplete sentences when I write poetry. And really you get to play around with the language. I mean, just think, you can say that the sun is a dog. And it works in poetry. So I think, you know, just being able to create worlds, I think once young people realize you can play around with words and language and lines and all of that, that's when you start to see their minds open up. And that's people in general.
Yeah, absolutely. In that vein, what can Winthrop, or just college students in general, what can they do to preserve like the community arts that you're fighting so hard to preserve?
You know what's interesting? I actually see a lot of that already with young people. I really do. You know, when you think about spoken word and all of the opportunities that young people carry with that, I see so much online on Book Talk, right? You know, TikTok. Just you see so much of it already online, and I feel like, you know, what happens in each generation is people take their own poetic license, their own agency, and they make it their own, right? Each generation takes poetry and makes it their own. And so I already see that. I think the biggest thing is just to continue that. And I think the other part too is, I think we do a great job of learning who people call are the greats. I think it's also important to take the opportunity to learn about the current poets that we have among us in our society, because you always have poets who are writing and preserving the history, because that's what poetry is. Right. And I was telling the young people today that one job that will be around forever will be a storyteller, a poet. You have to have somebody preserve the history. So I think just being able to study those poets who are published now and really getting out there and publishing as well, I think that's how we keep the legacy going.
Yeah, you're so true. Like that's so right. I think that is so inherently like ingrained in our nature, and that is something that, like, you're exactly right, we do need to preserve that. Talking about like community and preservation, just tell us, what is the power of progeny?
The power of progeny. So progeny came to me in a dream. The acronym stands for Pioneers Reaching Out for the Greater Elevation of Our Nation's Youth. Say that 10 times. And so actually, really in my first year of teaching, I had where young people came to me and they wanted to start a party organization. And I said, we can't just start a party organization, guys. Let's try to think about something deeper. And so we started talking, and I said, why don't we do something to allow people to be seen? So this was about 25 years ago. And I think that little girl in me wanted to be able to give that back to young people after being bullied.
Absolutely.
And so that's what we did. I remember those first set of students. They are all grown, very grown. And they've become friends, you know, now. And just to see where they've evolved. But really the organization is about giving a sense of belonging and leadership through the arts. So through the power of story, through the power of writing and literacy, just allowing people to know that there's power in your progeny or your lineage, your birthright, who you are, who you're meant to be. You are already powerful. So just tap into what you already have within you. And so, so we do workshops, camps, and we also promote a community teacher of the year as well as a community student of the year who is really doing civic engagement as well.
That's beautiful. I love that. We're kind of wrapping up here. Is there, what have you been doing for National Poetry Month? You've got an event coming up. Just tell us about that real quick and let the people know what's going on.
All right, so National Poetry Month, I've been doing a poem a day online. So check that out. I've been doing that on social media. Also been doing workshops at different schools. And on next week, it is Poem in Your Pocket Day. So we'll have Poem in Your Pocket Day in Rock Hill on the 28th. And so that's where I'll have different poets who are going to schools. I'm so excited. Some of our local Rock Hill poets will be going to schools and reading some of their poetry, just to highlight some of our great poets here. Also this Sunday, I will be having an open mic. So make sure you all come out. You just have to be 18 and older to come. So that is where anyone, if you sing, if you rap, if you have stories, and of course share poetry, or you just want to check it out, that will be at White Street Station at 5 o'clock, and that will be on this Sunday. So those are some of the things for Poetry Month that I'll be, facilitating. The other thing, though, as far as some of the things coming up beyond that, I have on May 17th, it will be through Rock Hill. We will be actually celebrating the south side of Rock Hill. Really, there's a kickoff for the South Side Cultural and Music Trail in Rock Hill.
Oh, cool.
So you'll have these different stations where people can learn about the culture and the music of Rock Hill. And the kickoff will be on May 17th. And so there'll be a Poet Laureate program from 1:30 to 2:30 on that day. It'll be at McGirt. But also throughout the whole day from 12:30 to 5, it's just going to be a wonderful celebration of community and the arts. So you're going to have visual arts, storytellers, a free concert by the orchestra, and they'll be highlighting African American history.
Cool.
It's just going to be dynamic, and so that'll be going on. And I'm trying to see if I'm leaving anything out. A camp. So Power Progeny Camp will be coming up this summer as well. And so that will begin the last week of June, moving into July. And that's where young people will get to be, again, learn about leadership through the arts. And we're going to have local artists. So we'll have our we have an international illustrator who will be coming to speak. We have visual artists, we have poets, all pouring back. Young people will get to go on field trips, and they'll get to learn about leadership. So all of that's going on, and I have more. But those are just a few things.
Yeah.
I'm just so excited to be able to give back.
That sounds so wonderful. And thank you so much for taking the time to come speak to us today. Thank you.
Thank you, Reagan. Thank you for having me. And I'm so grateful to Winthrop as well for having me.